Hi everyone, Espira, and welcome back to the Super Combo Podcast. As usual, I'm joined by our co-host, Chris of UniX. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm a little tired today, but we shrug that off. We keep going because content creation is low-key kind of an endless grind, even when you make it, which I have not personally. You're still currently grinding on all fronts. So really, I'm just out here trying to become one of the best, if not the best content creator you can kind of tune in on for this game. I got a lot of stiff competition, so can't ever really sleep.
I feel you there, but hey, I mean, as far as like consistent coverage of everything that's going on, I mean, you go hella in depth and you get right on it. So I'll tell you right now, rarely am I able to get fresh content at 2-3 in the morning, then straight out of your channel. So
hey, that feels pretty good. All right, you got it. Head inflated.
So today a pretty light episode on our shoulders. Of course, competitive season is kind of in a standstill until we get into the next month where regionals kind of pick back up. So until then, we do still have the reveals of Ultimate Squad. So still that available. We got yellows, and then it turns out I missed a couple of questions last week, and then maybe just because I was a little bit more active on the Discord, we actually got many more questions this time around. So quite a few for us to cover.
On the Discord.
hey, I answer my Discord questions.
Hey, I have been on it. That has been part of the new grind. I have actually been very active on my Discord.
All right. So, with that said, kicking it off into the reveals. Last week, the entire week was basically dedicated to this entire Z Fighter archetype, and it's pretty expensive. There's a lot of cards. And I think that's what we were saying, where I do think yellow kind of got not equally given pieces, where a majority of the cards were given to this Unison swap deck. And then the Namekians, which we're starting to get this week, which is kind of weird. We're basically getting like 2 weeks of yellow, is going to be probably smaller, although it is touching into the multicolor space, which means it has a little bit more room to be able to pull from cards there.
Sir.
So, I'm also like, shout out to everyone who tuned in. First off, we did break 1,000 downloads on the podcast across Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that stuff. So that's super exciting. So thank you, everyone. And if you're listening on YouTube, you can actually listen to this on your favorite podcasting app if you would prefer. But it also like became one of our most listened to podcasts ever, as far as like time sign. On YouTube, it's like over 1,000 views. So people really picked up on the fact that I called this deck a meme.
Hey, look, people really like that, and it's funny because it can be viewed as a meme, but I'm going to put it out here right now. 75% of the people that are tuning to the screen will probably get scraped up by it if you want to sit next to me on Untap or at a table. God forbid we meet someday. It's just it's the Gohan Unison is actually very, very powerful. Like it's been quite a while since I felt a boss card feel that clean, because it doesn't need deflect. It's a Unison. Just the way the deck works, it comes down, and it's like the way the deck works and the way yellow works. It counts your Unisons, blows up things through barrier and rest mode. It's yellow. Your stuff's in rest mode. I sneeze, you scratch your balls, and your cards automatically rest for no energy. So you're essentially just going to lose a board when that card resolves, and it's just funny. But you know what? If y'all want to call it a meme, that's absolutely fine. It is a Unison gimmick deck. It's just that a lot of people wrote it off before even trying to see the full list or like testing it, which is just wild. And I don't know why the community does that. Like, this is the same community that saw Son Goku, like the red Son Goku, and went, that leader jank. And I'm like, it's a leader. There's a whole archetype they haven't spoiled yet. Like that leader bad. I made a whole video just talking about its effects and what it could mean for the deck, just seeing what it does. No overwhelm, meaning that it's going to burst hard. It might have other cards that burst. It didn't have other cards that burst other than 17, but things like that. I really went off about it. And when people were arguing with me about it, I remember being like, hey, yo, like, I'd rather them have a broken archetype or a good, solid archetype, or even an overtuned archetype, than a broken or overtuned leader, because it is so much harder to moderate a leader. If the leader is snapped, you got to either ban it or route it. If an archetype is snapped in a couple places, you might need to semi-limit it. You might need to ban one card. But it is so much better when the leader is not the card you cannot remove off the field or not draw. Like, it's better when that card is not snapped. So I don't know. It just got me in a soft space when people were like, oh, the deck is automatically stupid. I'm like, bro, it's shown 5 cards, and you have yet to sit down and actually. Half of you guys don't even read effects. Don't even at me. I know when we sit down and a card that's been out for 3 months has to be picked up and looked at. Like, I know you don't read cards. So don't come at me with this deck being good or bad until I've actually seen you either A, comment on my deck breakdown video, because then I'll accept your opinion. If you want to look at that whole thing and be like, yeah, look, Chris, that's cool and all. Draws a lot, but that's trash. I'll be like, you know what? You watch. Respect. I'll give you that. But Vegeta into Piccolo is a +2, and if you do it off the leader effect, that's a pot of greed for 0 investment. And look, PP hard. That's all I got to say. So yeah, thank you guys though for watching. That's amazing. Like over 1,000 views for this one. It's crazy because we went to that podcast going, man, there's not as much stuff to talk about this week. And for real, every single time we jump in and hit the dang, this is going to be our shortest podcast ever. It just immediately becomes stupid. Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. So, I mean, funny enough, to a point where I think other content creators started using it as like a meme in the titles of their video, which like, hey, I mean, don't worry about it. I create the wave. And if y'all want to ride on it, all the power to that.
Hey, yo.
So, but yeah, so I think here's the thing. I do think it's a gimmick deck, and I think, like, yes, while I do think don't get me wrong, the Unison is actually incredibly strong. Which, like, are you saying that we should Unarada Zamasu? Question in the air.
Which one? Oh, heck no. No. That's the whole point, though. The payoff deck is that busted Unison. Just let it go.
But the card is incredibly good. So, like, no taking away from that. But I do think the deck is again just a 6 out of 10 shell that kind of just brings it together because the rest of the yellow cards absolutely snapped. So
that's how yellow is in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
is fine. At the end of the day, that's just what yellow is. And I will say they revealed the SPR, and it does seem like this is the Gohan that's getting that Gohan SPR we saw teased at the front of the box, and that card's hot. So
it is super hot. I will say right off the bat, you don't even have to. I mean, please go by all means. Go to the video, like it, comment, and if/when George makes a archetype 101, go like and just like comment on that. But I'm just saying the deck, the main thing that holds it back is the RNG. Literally, it's a combo deck by nature, and so you could have Unison cards on the top of your deck and just float through them with your leader effect and feel like this is one of the smoothest yellow decks you've played in a while, or you can have whiffs on the top of your deck, but be drawing into your Unisons or having them come off life, and you'll feel like it's very, very jank. And so it's one of those things where it's like the deck is held back by like designed variance, and that's always frustrating. It's like a UI Goku. Simple 1-card interactions, very, very strong. But there are times where you could hit a burst 2-3 times in a row, and they're all your super combos. Or they're all the Vegeta Resolver news you sided in for a matchup. Or they're all like that. You know what I mean? It's like variance that's built in by the designers, and you're just like, why did this have to be here? But that just kind of is how it is. There are some really fun interactions. Like I will say, like having the Vegeta SR on the board and then swinging, taking a card from your life, looking at your top 5, playing a Piccolo on top of it, Piccolo getting the Empower for the draw, and Vegeta giving you the draw from being sent from the Unison to the drop. That's just like a +3 interaction for turning your leader sideways. And like, I drool over those things. Like, it just feels so good. I'm an old Yu-Gi-Oh player at my core. And so I just start drawing 3 cards off of no cards used in hand. I just love it. I love it. But there's some funny things. We might have to, because this is such a meme, we might have to make a how-to. We might have to get some reps in. I'll probably build that deck for the funds just because the Gohan and Goku SPRs look so clean.
Yeah, I mean the cards are incredibly, like you said. There's the Goku SPR too, and to bring it together, they got their own little SCR, very similar in the vein to Heroines. Yo, and before we get into it, so it's called Oath of Z, and you got all the Z fighters there, and it's an extra card. And bro, Gohan got another secret rare, dog.
Hey, yeah, see about that. Yeah, that's the people secret rare. That's a collectible card. And to be honest, if I got one, I would probably just Logan Paul it and wear it around my neck. But I mean, it's like not anything like crazy special, but it is just really, really cool looking. Like that's an iconic moment. Like people out here like, ah, it's not good. I'm like, look, I'm not going to front. Like you guys may hate my opinion on this. I don't want good generic secret rare. That sounds really weird, but I don't like a homogeneous format. I don't like it when we're all using Pan or Kai because it's just generically busted. I like we talked about from the mailbag last time. I want secret rares that make you have to choose between which color you play for which reasons. It's the same reason why I said that I thought certain cards should be leader specific only. I thought Champa should be red leader only. I thought Sensu should be blue leader only because I want you to look and be like, if Champa is my favorite card in the game, I guess I need to be playing red leaders to utilize Champa. I wanted that to be sort of a thing. So, no, the moment Oath of Z is just a black card doing the thing, I don't need it. I don't need it.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, it jumps right into the SCR. Like it, for a lot of aspects in our card game at the moment, there's so much that's generically good that it doesn't feel like you have to make a lot of concessions when picking a deck. If you, like you said, if you want to be a deck that has extra extension, then you can just add a bit of blue and then you have Bean, right? Every deck outside of blue basically and red, run any of like 3 different secret rares. So, and they all do the same thing, right? So, I will agree on that front that it makes that I do like more variety. And like you said, this is definitely the people secret rare. I mean, the Z Fighters probably being the biggest thing to have launched Dragon Ball to be the massive IP it is today. So the card's hot. The effect effectively allows you to kill a thing on board depending on how many of the Z Fighters you have in any area, and it draws 2 cards. At activate battle timing. So odds are this won't be as accessible as Heroine's Lineage, so it won't be as cheap, but it'll kind of fulfill the same role of this is the secret rare I got, and it's like not the worst thing to have. Odds are, unless you're a very like specific type of deck, you're going to have one of these characters somewhere in your deck.
If you play it on me at an event, you have my permission to play Rock the Dragon from your phone at the table. I will not. I will stand you. If people tell you to like to turn off, like, shut the fuck up. Like I'll immediately stand you in your attempt to play Rock the Dragon while playing Oath of Z.
Hey, there you go.
But if it doesn't win game that turn, I'm just gonna like turn it off, and I won't throw your phone because that's disrespectful, and like phones cost money. But I'll definitely like make fun of you on my turn report. So you better win. You better play it. Rock the Dragon comes on, and you put me in scoop phase that turn.
Hey, yo. So before we move on from the secret rare, no cap, Gohan has the most secret rares now, right?
He's kind of weird.
He's on Goku Jr. He's on the SS4, and now he's on Oath of Z. So he's the most represented secret rare character. You must be ecstatic, right?
Not quite. See, if secret rare appearances are like KDAs, Gohan has the most A's. Gohan has the most assists, the most assists on the map. And that's where that's going from, just simply the most assists. Yeah, I mean, assist King Gohan. One day we'll get one. I mean, chances are we could be getting one very soon.
Well, the movie, right? So it'd be wild. It'd be wild if he didn't get a secret rare coming in from his own movie.
Yeah, like I fully expect there to be like a Gohan, Pan, Piccolo secret rare. The question is what color it's going to be in. It's kind of weird because like if I had to peg it, black keeps getting secret rares, and they're not going to put it in black, I don't think. Red is too hot with Vegeta. I can't imagine them printing a card outside of Vegeta. I can really see it being blue or green. The thing is, with green, you need a deck that's actually good enough to want to play green. But if they make it for blue, of course, you're not going to play it over hatch unless they start making blue even better at defending itself. And I think we kind of talked about that last time, and I was like, you need to have blue have effects that are maybe not as good, but comparable to hatch outside of hatch for us to stop playing hatch as the de facto secret rare. And then on top of that, you would need to create a card that actually did shit in the secret rare slot. So all in all, it's a whole lot to kind of take in. but I think a blue or green would probably be its home. I just got to see which color is going to house it. I think that could be done, but it's kind of wild because we're in a position where Gohan could actually nab a few secret rare slots. Like, it is actually astounding that we have not had a father-son Kamehameha secret rare. Like, with Goku in the background, just like kind of like the art that they did on the leader. And every time they revisit this saga and don't do it, it's just weird for me because in my head, that just means that we're revisiting the saga in the future. It's one of the most iconic sagas of the entire series. And every time we don't get a Gohan, Goku, Kamehameha secret rare, I'm just like, great. Sometime in the future, we're going back to this saga. Because there's no way they just end this game without giving that as a secret rare. As for other secret rares, I'm trying to think of the cards we've got as ultimate. Like, because let me see this real quick. Dragon Ball Super card game card list. Because you type in Dragon Ball Super card game and like a gajillion links come up, and I'm not really trying to mess with that. We're going straight to the source, even if it causes me to type. Even if it causes me to type for like 0.5 more seconds, straight to the source. When you go look up Ultimate, right? I'm just gonna do a quick rattle off of cards that deserve it and don't deserve it. SSB Vegito. Was he one of the coolest new moments to happen in Dragon Ball Super? Yeah, but at that point they could have put SSB Kaioken as a secret rare because I think that was the first iconic Dragon Ball Super exclusive moment. But I'm not sure if SSB Vegeta, like I guess he deserves it. SS4 Goku, definitely he holds GT on his entire back. Outside of Gogeta, it's really Gogeta and him. Sorry, Vegeta, but it's really you plus Goku and Goku. So, yeah, this guy deserved it. Goku Jr.? Hell no. If Goku Jr. got a secret rare, if Goku Jr. in his dog water movie got a secret rare, then Gohan, after he got the Elder Kai drip and showed up to Earth with the intent of putting Majin Buu's head up his anus, could be in a secret rare slot.
I think the intent with Goku Jr. was just the fact that he's the latest descendant. So I think it was more of a thematic thing than because like I didn't even know, I never watched the movie, so I didn't even know who the hell Goku Jr. was until they came out with the card.
It was so bad. Like, this homie literally turned Super Saiyan because bullies were trying to take his lunch money. Like, it was that's essentially it. It was not a good movie. But I see what you're saying there. It's like the culmination. They were doing Goku's lineage, and he's like the end stop of that. But it's just there are more moments, you know, like Beyond Darkness Demigra. We were still not even really into heroes at that point. Super Saiyan 3 Gogeta, once again, they just cashed in on fusions, Go Burr. Ultimate Agent of Destruction. This is 2. They were like, you know what? Super Saiyan 3 and Broly Go Burr. Nobody wanted Babidi Absorbed Majin Buu. Like, not a single soul. If you do, comment, like the video and comment, tell me that I was wrong, but nobody wanted. Like, you can't tell me 9 times out of 10 an Ultimate Gohan Secret Rare wouldn't have sold better than a freaking Arcane Absorption Majin. Like, get out. SS3 Scramble. Okay, you have SS3 Broly, you have SS3 Vegeta, but then you memed it up by putting SS3 Raditz on there. And I'm not going to try to hate, because I think Raditz is a massively untapped part of the series.
Yeah.
He came down, he clapped the main character effortlessly, plus Piccolo. Like, as far as I'm concerned, anything Goku could do, there's a potential. There's a world where Raditz could have done better. Like, what if Raditz is in hell smoking everybody that Goku and his friends send there to maintain supremacy in hell? And we just randomly have this stacked Raditz coming back or getting wished back to life being like, hey, yo, bro. Power of Patara? That's okay. It was kind of one of those team-up things, too. They had to team up something opposite to the Super Saiyan 3 Scramble. Baby Janemba, get out. Like, once again.
Well, I mean, and the worst part being that's a theme that they're like, yo, this baby absorption is kind of hot. Maybe we should keep doing it.
Yeah, man.
Just did it over and over again.
I'm just like, absolutely not. Like, I'm like, again, it's one more time. Like, who asked for this? Not me. I'll tell you what, not me. So yeah, it's just kind of like there are so many opportunities for them to put really cool SCRs or SCRs that mean something to us. It's cool that SS4 Vegeta got one. negative Dragon Balls, okay, whatever. Smoke Dragon, it deserved a card, but did it deserve an SER? Apex, 100%. Cell Xeno, I'm going to take off my bias glasses. Cell Xeno got carried by its effect. It could have been any character. Cell Xeno could have been an SS2 Gohan secret rare, and nobody would have complained about that.
Dude, it could have been Shotgun Farmer for all we know. The effect, the character itself didn't really matter on the card. I don't think anyone bought this card till it was like, damn, I love this huge ass bug.
Yeah, there's this giant cicada roach. Like, it's just, yeah, you're looking at that. Primal Ape, lol. Okay. SS3 Gotenks, a lol. I mean, they put SS4 Gogeta, and the card literally sold off of character alone because we all know that card wasn't good. That card literally says, play this card, stop playing the game. It was like, excuse me? SS4 Broly, once again, they cashed in on Broly and SS4. It was a shameless money grab. Hatch, once again, nobody cared about the character. You could have made Hatch Android 17 putting up a barrier in the TOP, and it probably would have been more thematic. It would have been way more thematic. Universal on the line, Android 17. Like, it just would have been like that. We have fucking PyCon. Nobody wanted him normally. Nobody wanted PyCon normally. Why do we have Super PyCon, bro? Like, he wasn't. Oh my god, it's just so bad.
I know a couple of people who were like, "Yo, it's about time PyCon came out," and then his deck sucked and his SER sucked. But like,
I mean, it's fair. It's just kind of like, these are the type of things where I'm just like, it's weird to know where they're headed with certain things, because there are so many points that just could have been different. Like, yes, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and an Ultimate Gohan. Hell, man, looking at some of these and just thinking about their effects, like I said, Super 17 could have been Baby Hatch. You look at, where is this? I'm trying to see. You see, like, this Majin Buu incarnation of demonic evil that's going to, what was it, counter skill? It's a counterattack. Bro, this, I'm not going to front. This could have been a TN using the Tri-Beam, like, on Cell. And it just would have felt like it meant more to us than a Majin Buu incarnation of demonic evil. It's like, you got to play, when you're playing a nostalgia-based game, you got to play offset nostalgia. So sometimes adding in all these heroes characters kind of hurts, because we don't care about them as a collective space. We don't have heroes here. Yeah. We want moments that we looked at and we're like, yeah, buddy. Like, give us a Frieza destroying planet Namek. Give us shout outs to the VSA, but give us a Vegeta turning into a great ape and make that the great ape SCR. Like, who the fuck cares about Bardock, dude? Like, Bardock, great ape Bardock. Like, we like Bardock. Do we like great ape Bardock? Who knows? We've never seen him before. Like, so yeah, the whole point is Gohan has a whole bunch of assists, but overall, we have so much more space for secret rares, and it's just a matter of time until I think they return to some of these.
Yeah. So I think, like, their secret rare, I think there's two things with their secret rare slot, where there are a couple of slots in this game that are what if slots. And you know, as someone who grew up with Dragon Ball, like, I'll tell you right now, my 10-year-old ass would go on the internet and be like, bro, SSJ 10 Goku, and just see how fucking long his hair was, and like, it'd be white and shit, and like
the metal one. Remember the metal one? Yeah, the metal Goku. We were like, wow.
So I think when it comes to the color black specifically, they do this a ton with black, which also because it's the hero's color. But they're also their secret rare slot where they can fulfill that childlike drive for like the what ifs, and then like if someone opened this card, like, holy shit, okay, it's really kind of tough because these actually are a lot of characters that we don't care about, but like,
you almost opened your mouth and you were like, wait, we have baby Janemba.
Yeah, but you know, like, holy shit, SS4 Broly, you know. So I do think that's where kind of some of this comes together, but I do think, whereas right now I feel like it's a 70-30 on where it's like 70 what if slots and like 30 like old slots. So like, you know, Apex of Power, SS4 Goku, SS4 Gogeta, Goku and Frieza, Miraculous Conclusion. I do think it should be a flip of about 30%. Like, out of 3 secret rares, if 2 of them could be like iconic to people who grew up with Dragon Ball, because like, here's the thing, like it or not, Dragon Ball is an IP that, don't get me wrong, is massive, but lives off of the millennial generation. The Zoomers, to my knowledge, don't care all that much about Dragon Ball. So,
God.
so
just imagine a world where you like shit like Fortnite over Dragon Ball. I cannot.
Hey man, you get to be Naruto and like Jutsu no Gun
Oh my
Ariana
God.
Grande.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. All right.
So, but like no, like 100%. So it's just I can't fathom it. But of course, I was someone who grew up with Dragon Ball, so I do think the ratio is off. Though I would imagine like for every 3 secret rares they have, because right now we're at a cadence where it's basically 3 every set. 2 of them are iconic moments, and then like 1 of them is like the one-off, like what if character, the heroes showcase or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I don't relate to a lot of these cards. Like, bro, I don't even know who the hell Robelu is.
Like she hot, but like
yeah, I was about to say like I'm finna about to bust, but I'm trying to play cards, dog. Like
I'm finna bust. No, like fuck, like dude, look. I'll put it out right here once again. I don't care about Demigro. Why do I care about his secretary? I mean, that being said, once Demigro becomes like young and like he has his like kingly shit on, like I'm not gonna lie, that drip is hard. Dark King, wait, no, yeah, Dark King. Oh, it's not even Demigro. That'd be Mechagabora. Never mind, Demigro's trash. Like nothing about him is redeemable. That dude, his hair, whack. His stance, whack. The way he's never on any good cards unless he's like, you know, a monster, whack. Like dude, like, man.
Yeah. So
man.
We'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, there's still going to be those few iconic ones, and while they are few and far in between, and I will say one thing. Like, don't get me wrong, I could care less that the masked Saiyan is a great ape, and like obviously I have no relation to that character. But the card being a monkey means that we got the monkey memes after Worlds, and that was hilarious. So
hey, it could have been Vegeta, and the VSA Sand group would have been the strongest group on the planet. Bro, if that was Vegeta with the power wall, like instead of like just Bardock, oh my god, they'd be unstoppable.
Oh god. So yeah, that is in terms of the secret rare for the new set. Of course, we got a couple of more unisons for the Sea Fighter deck and a couple of battle cards that work with the deck. From like because like you test and you know your boy don't. What would you say is the right ratio of unisons for the deck?
Oh, for the yellow one?
Yeah, for the yellow deck.
Currently in my testing, I've been running 12 cyclable 1-drops, and then I run 3 Gohans. And essentially, like any deck, you kind of cut through the fat and play the ones that are good. And it's like Tien has, effects, Krillin has effects, but the thing they don't do, draw. So you end up using 4 Vegeta. I mean, personally, I use 4 Vegeta, and I guess Matt Kuhn's list was like the same as well. So when it came to the ratios on those, like so he played 4 Gohan, but 4 Vegeta because that guy literally is able to, whenever he leaves the Unison area, you draw a card. So whether he gets killed, whether you overlay on top of him, he draws a card. Then you have Piccolo because when Piccolo comes into play with 3, you draw a card. So when you overlay Vegeta into the grave, into the drop to play a Piccolo, you're just +2ing, and that's either a +1 if you play the Piccolo from hand, or +2 when it comes from deck. And then Yamcha, because when Yamcha comes into play with its full Empower, he taps down 2 battle cards on your opponent's board. But he has a +0 that can draw a card, or a +1 that can give him 10k attack. So if he comes off the top of the deck with his full Empower, he's already at 3 markers, only 2 of them carry over, so you just +1 him. So basically, with those unisons, as long as Piccolo isn't the one coming down raw from your hand to the top of your deck, you're generally going to be going on to a +2 or a +1 to +2 interaction, depending on where the second unison comes from. So 4, 4, and 4, and then 3 of the Gohan. Also, because of the Gohan being the deck kind of has like 2 different kill window setups, because you can either have Gohan and Dragon Fist, or you can have Gohan and Gohan. Simply because the Unison is a Unison, so it's not very vulnerable to a lot of stuff in the game. He comes down with Empower 3. So chances are he's being played for 3. He's going up to 6 markers. On his first turn, 9 times out of 10, you're plus 1ing him to 7. He's a 20k 7 marker Unison. That is Vegeta or Kai, or he is not leaving the field. And then the following turn, you can -3 him, and he's a triple attack. That's 25k. And at this point, you can either turn up the heat by playing Dragon Fist on top of it, or in some cases, you tap 3 again, you play another Gohan, he goes back up to 6 markers, and then you -3 to swing 3 more times with the 25k Unison. And by the way, your leader is now 25k because he's been boosted twice. So, and that lasts until the end of your opponent's next turn. So double bean on your leader if you don't secure the kill that turn. It leads to some really crazy turns, because there have been some times where it's like, oh, we're in that game state where, you know, you're tapped, this is happening, that's happening. Bet, I am now going to -3, swing you 3 times, play 3, -3, swing you 3 times, and then, you know, it's turn 6, we're in the late game, so I'm going to tap 3 again for this Dragon Fist. And it's just like, wow, I've been swung on 8 times for 25 this turn. That's kind of strong. Why am I not playing red with Violent Race? So that's the funny part. And even Tenacious doesn't really stop that. You can Tenacious somebody and still get swung on by that Gohan a gajillion times. So I think the correct ratio is, 4, 4, 4, and then 3 of your boss card.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's pretty gross. Turns out I don't read either. I didn't even know that the bean stuck until the end of your opponent's turn. That's kind of stupid, but I like playing red, so I'll have Violent Rays in my Invoker deck, and
Yes,
you won't be board wiping me because I won't have battle cards on board, so it's fine.
Well, you know what? That's fair. But but yeah, I mean, that's fair. There's actually no real but about that. That's just fair.
But no, I do say that the deck probably has more legs than people give it credit, and it's one of those decks where if you actually like scoff at it but don't actually ever get some like play test session with it, that like is a deck that you're gonna get like smacked away from. So yeah, just Unisons are just so hard to interact with. Like, what are you gonna do?
I mean, well, so unfortunately, these being 5Ks and 4Ks, you end up swinging on them all the time. This is exactly what you do today. Now, granted, a lot of times they're at 4 markers. Outside of turn 1, chances are they're at 4 markers. And if you want to swing on my Unison 4 different times, like I don't care if it is 4K, 5K, you've essentially saved me taking life. And so I'm not exactly the most mad about that. However, yeah, there are some funny parts to that. It definitely is just a little weird, but it's damn gimmicks, man. Like it's so sometimes you just get so excited and then you just kind of see where things. All I want to do is play this deck one time at an event and just face every single Black Hatch player at the event in succession. Because like Black Hatch would just see this leader and just cry. Like they can't do anything to it. They literally get swung on 3 to 4 times a turn and they can't say no.
Bruh, I'm telling you, Bandai was in a meeting for this set designer. Like, all right, no one's playing with Power. What do we do? Put it all.
They said, let's have a night. Let's get some sake. Let's play some decks. Oh, only from the new set? No. We don't want to play just Realm of the Gods. Let's play from all the sets. And then just one tryhard came into the homie party with Black Hatch, and the designer was like, "Fuck it, I'm swinging with Unisons the entire game." Like, hey boss, could I get yellow this set? Strange. You said you never would. Like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. Just give me yellow this set.
Oh god. So yeah, so the archetype is pretty much complete at this point. And then over the weekend we got some SPRs. So reminder, we did get the SS2 Broken Arm Kamehameha, which looks fantastic. We got Super Mira, which like, man, Super Mira is an ugly character.
All right, look. It's literally the onesie. It's literally the onesie. It really is, bro. Like, and it's crazy too because the onesie looks like trash. But what can you do, man? It's a onesie.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is, right? I mean, I think the purple boots don't be helping, but hey.
Hey, look, purple boots, Pog, stop it.
We got Toa and heels. Pretty pog.
Boots with the perp. Oh wait, sorry.
Hey,
Continue.
yo. we got the GT trio. I think that was expected by pretty much everybody, which is hot. So love to get some more GT love there. And then we got the Goku negate. It's a negate. It plays itself. Makes itself cheaper if you got Unison's Spirit Boost and get to rest some cards and KO them and draw. So, more for some reason, yellow gets a plus no matter what it does type situations.
Yeah, one of the most iconic scenes in the entire thing. Once again.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. At least the SPRs kind of carry on that front.
Yeah, it's pretty clean. It's also kind of weird. I mean, the Goku is going to be a chase card no matter what. It could be good, it could be bad. If the card randomly becomes one of the best cards in the game, that SPR is just going to be worth so much money because it is iconic. However, I don't know, that Mira, woof. I'm just saying that Mira is a little. As a card, it's actually just a really strong card. It's a token battery on its own. It's warping stuff and drawing off of cards that you're making for free. It's actually, I'll just say from a structural standpoint, that card is actually everything I want a good generic Unison to be. Like, you put it in any black deck, right? And it's going to be making free combo power. And yes, the combo power is removable, but one of the things that black struggles with sometimes is defense. So you're making free combo, but on the same point, you can also +1 to remove something and draw one, which is beautiful. But at the same time, the last part that makes me so hype about it is that it legitimately operates on an even higher level in the deck it's supposed to be in. And I think that's actually the best it could possibly be for me. I like cards that are good, but give you incentive to play it in a better space. Love that.
Yeah, I agree. I think from a design standpoint, mechanically, the cards are great. It lives in a similar realm to the Green Vegeta in that it's just it does good stuff all aboard, right? And like you said, it incentivizes the play of its deck because it just runs so much smoother in there. So huge. Yeah. So that was the weekend. Moving into the start of this week, we're still in yellow, just because of how the reveals were spread out. So Namekians started to make their showcase, and before we get into the Namekian cards, I just like to remind how I believe it was last episode or the episode before that, where Chris was talking about how watch Bandai make this whole Namekian archetype. But because of the era in which this is in the show, the set is just a dozen Piccolos.
Yo, real talk. We just got straight Piccolos, and I think that's going to be the trend. I think I saw the future on that one. We are actually just about to get an entire archetype. I'm actually, after we get off the podcast tonight, I'm recording I'm going to start, looking at some of it. Because normally, I'm not going to front. With my creative process, guys, I normally record the cards we have. And then I'll put on the same clothes and I'll record.
That's the move.
I'll record the rest of it because I'm not off on these mornings. So I have to do this in a very, very small amount of time. And so I have to get kind of creative with it. But I was thinking when I do this thumbnail, I'm really just going to find 9 assets of Piccolo. And I'm just going to have him in different orientations all over the page. That is exactly how I feel like doing this because it's about to be the Piccolo show. If you like Piccolo, congratulations. This is your moment. You are about to, every card you draw, your boy. Every card you charge, your boy.
Damn, we know your real father never been there for you, dog. Well, get what? Stepdaddy about you every day of your life.
Let's go.
Oh my God. As usual, Chris be hitting 10 for 10 all the time. So this, Namekian archetype is actually Piccolo.deck. So let's go.
Your boy.
So we have the leader has an auto where you get to place one Namekian card from your hand under this card. When it attacks, you get to draw a card, then look at the top 5 cards top of your deck. Add up to 1 green or yellow Namekian card among them to your hand and shuffle your deck. So this deck will be green-yellow by nature. When your life is 4 or less, or there are 2 or more cards under this card, which means turn 2 awakens if you're going second, turn 3 if you're going fourth, or you're going first. You may draw 1 card, switch up to 1 energy active mode, and then you go down to 5 life. Then, on the Awaken End, permanent. When placing battle cards under other cards to pay skill for your Union Absorb skills, you can use cards from under this card instead, which is kind of nice. It means that you can do a thing where you set up your Union Fusions early and you never actually neg for them, and then you go into fuse into them. Auto plays 1 Namekian card from your hand under this card, which means you can continue to keep doing this, and now you're just straight up drawing 2 cards. And activate battle once per turn, place 1 card from under this card in its owner's drop area. This card gets 5k for the battle, and that can be done both on your turn and your opponent's turn, which is kind of nice. Just a free 5k, so it gives a lot of utility to the cards under it. I will say it's a little bit weird that they do reveal the leader that's supposed to combo well with Union Absorb, and then we don't get a Union Absorb card. But there's a lot of archetypes still there, especially since we're doing multicolor. So now we got the 2 multicolors. We got Piccolo fusing with Nail, and then alternatively, we got Piccolo fused with Kami. So you can kind of see the theme here of what they're going for. Piccolo being a 15k crit, permanent, and they both have this permanent where, like, if it's about to be KO'd in battle, you get to remove cards from under the cards to be able to prevent that from happening. The fusing with Nail has an activated battle where once per turn you get to switch it to rest mode, and then choose one of your opponent's battle cards when you cost 5 or less in rest mode, KO it. If you KO'd a card, your opponent discards 1 card from their hand, and then the Kami's got a lot going on. It's critical, double strike. It can also evolve on a Piccolo or a Kami for yellow and 2. And it's got the outer that when it's played, you get to choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring barrier, and KO them. And those are the 4 cards we got. So my first thought, a little bit weird we didn't get any Union Absorbs, but I mean, prominently we'll probably end up seeing those within the next couple of days. But hey, red, yellow, green, yellow, pretty cool. And so far, Piccolo looks is gonna get a lot of love. So hey, there's that.
I agree. Like, I think it's actually really cool to see this leader, and it's like one of the coolest like little things that we can. All right, so I have a couple things on this. One, it's awesome to see Piccolo from this saga get shine, because this is the last saga in Dragon Ball to date that Piccolo was like a threat, that Piccolo was actually like a dude. Like, it's not like he was just sitting in the background, oh, I've never felt such power before. Like, no, like he was throwing hands with one of the premier villains to a standstill. And Hell Zone Grenade was still one of the hottest moments in Z. Like, this bro just, you missed. Piccolo, eat dirt, bitch. Like, and just Hell Zone Grenaded the dog shit out of him. Like, it was so amazing. So that was cool. I'm glad he's being shown love. But the other part about it, I don't want to read too much into it, but if these are yellow and green Namekians, I think it is extremely increases the possibility of a Piccolo leader in the following set for the movie being in green or yellow.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have that backwards compatibility with Namekian.
Makes sense. Not the first time they've done it either.
Yup.
So, yeah, like I said, I mean, these are just like generically good cards. The leader looks interesting. I mean, it pluses really well, which is nice. And it has some good consistency, we presume, with what's going to be with the deck. But otherwise, we've just seen good cards, right? Like Fuse with Kami and fusing with Nail aren't going to make or break the deck. They're okay cards. But predominantly fusing with Nail is going to be the card that we Union Fusion into, as well as Fuse with Kami. So while these cards are decent, it'll just really end up on how easy it is to get their Union Fusions into play and how they work together with each other. So that'll kind of be the thing on our end to keep an eye on. But presumably, if you like Piccolo, while tangentially liking like 1 or 2 Nails and 1 or 2 Kamis, this will probably be your deck, because that deck will be consisting of those 3 characters, and that's it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm not trying to say his take was trash, but I don't know. Fuse with Kami, Fuse and Nail are clearly broken. Best cards in the game. They're like the Exodia equivalent. Dude. I couldn't even finish that sentence. All right, you got it. Do as you will.
So that is our reveal so far. Looking forward to seeing what the rest of Piccolo has. I will say it kind of does kill the flow when we had a full week of yellow and now we're seeing more yellow. But it's got some multicolor in it. And, you know, maybe the fact that we're exploring so deeply into multicolor the set, right? The super combos were the first example of that. Then this archetype is an example of that, which means potentially a few more archetypes will be multicolor oriented, which is nice. I love my multicolors. So all of a sudden, this gives me renewed interest in the set that wasn't there before because I just love dabbling with multicolor. So the fact that that is making more of a harder return, and it's not just kind of super combos to kind of be like, it's the last Unison block set. Let's make a couple of super combos that interact with Unisons on a more direct sense. I like this. I think it's cool. So this, not for what it is, because like, don't get me wrong, I don't dislike it, but for not for what it is thematically, but what it's proposing we might see for the rest of the set design could be very interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing kind of what the rest of the set is going to push now that we know that this is the kind of space they're open to experimenting within the set itself.
A long time ago, didn't they like legitimately say or hint somewhere that multicolored unisons could be a thing?
I'm fairly certain. I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, it actually kind of blows my mind that we haven't gotten one yet. Like, to me, it seemed like such a natural progression. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of broken things that would happen with multicolor unisons.
Yes.
Like, it's actually pretty nuts. But it seemed like the natural progression of unisons once we were out of the unison warrior block, and the fact that we have yet to actually get there, which, like, don't get me wrong, they can always come back, right? Like unisons are now a core part of the game. They don't need their own block for them to print more unison cards. But it did surprise me that we didn't get a multicolor unison.
On top of that, actually, you kind of brought it back to me thinking about it, right? Like, yes, it really is like okay, well, they don't have to do it now, but this could be like a Return to Ravnica kind of deal. Like, whenever they decide, you know what, F it, we're going back to a unison-oriented block, that could be the first thing they drop in that set to draw people in, multicolored unison.
True.
That's actually in that case, with Zenkai Boost coming in as a mechanic, I wouldn't even touch multi. If I was a company, I wouldn't even touch multicolored unisons, because that is immediately the draw to ever going back to a unison warrior format. Well, unison warrior-esque block. Like, if they just said 2 years from now, or not, wait, that's some unison warrior type shit. Let's just say like 5 sets from now, they're like, okay, we're gonna slide back into a alternative dimension warrior block, and then we just get multicolored unisons right off the rip. That would be cool. That would get me hyped a little bit.
Yeah, same. And like, it makes sense. That there is something that, like, when you're designing card games, it's some people call it's this notion that you kind of don't want to just throw everything at the wall right away, because those are things that, like you were saying, they could bring in whenever they want to rejuvenate or spice up the game. So reprint equity is kind of one of those things, but also design space, right? Make sure to go too deep into one specific aspect as opposed to going too wide, because then you leave yourself the opportunity to be able to bring those things in to reinvigorate the game. So, like you said, multicolor unisons are definitely one of those things. So they'll come back to it, right? So on that front, there's a lot of design space still left, which is good, because it means that there's a lot that the designers will have available to them when designing for this kind of stuff in the future. If they kind of just threw, the whole kitchen sink at the wall right off the rip, then it would keep them stuck for design space that felt refreshing. And then we'd be like in the same space now. We're like, yo, I'm kind of getting tired of unisons, but without the benefit of at least having new mechanics introduced into unisons that would kind of make them fresh and interesting. So while I thought it was the natural progression, I'm also not designing games, and probably all for the better, because I'd already have my Invoker Unison by now.
Toxic. You know what? I see, some of us just want to see the world burn. Some of us just want an Invoker Unison in a deck that doesn't really need anything like that. And you know what some of us want? Some of us just want a damn card in red U7 that has both Gohan and Piccolo on it. Especially when they said the theme of that fucking deck was the bond between master and student. Where is the master? Oh, wait, he's on a single vanilla card. That was such a huge fumble. Like, you can go to that commercial right now, and they literally, the bond between master and student. And then, like, you see, like, the silhouettes of Gohan and Piccolo, and they show up. And they're literally in the position. Gohan's doing the Kamehameha, and Piccolo's doing special mechanic. It's their most iconic scene in the entire TOP. No representation in the entire set. we've gotten 2 different points of promo cards for Red U7. Not in there either. I'm sickened. I am literally sickened.
Oh God. So those are the reveals. So let's see what comes out of the rest of the set for next week. With that, that was our main topic for today. Dragon Ball's been a little bit quiet recently, and we are still waiting for the regional season coming into next week. But we have quite a bevy of questions. So we'll be jumping into those, especially since I did miss a couple last week. So we'll be jumping into the SC mailbag. And of course, guys, if you guys want your questions answered on air by myself and Chris, then feel free to tweet at me at EspiraTCG with the hashtag SC mailbag, or post your question over on the Discord in the SC mailbag category, and we'll go ahead and get back to you live on air. Now, scrolling all the way back up, starting with the first question. Neek asks, what is one archetype you feel should get some much needed or needed attention within the next few main sets? Personally, would like to see more Namekians or something revolving around Bio Broly.
I'm getting something. 1 second. It's coming through my telepathy. You may not be disappointed with the next set. Don't at me though. There might be even the next 2 sets.
Like, especially if you have a hard on for one particular Namekian, bro. Do I have an archetype for you, buddy?
1, they're almost all the same. 2, there's only one Namekian you can really have a hard on for. Most of them are dead.
I mean, so, yeah, and even then, Kami's basically just like what, Piccolo's twin brother.
I mean, it's pretty much like half of Piccolo. So look. In reality, your future looks bright. If you want that, your future looks bright. Now, on the other hand, I don't know if you're new here. I don't know if you're a frequent listener, but we have to address the elephant in the room. And that's that you wanted Bandai to devote any sort of time, attention, or money to the train wreck that was Bio Broly. You've actually just triggered one of those Spencer tangents. Broly is a really weird thing because he came in and he cashed in on the sand factor. Like, we've had the sand factor happen in movies, Turles, stuff like that, but we've never had the sand factor in terms of an opposing Super Saiyan until Broly showed up. So that was why Broly is one of the hugest things. Dude had barely any lines. I'm not gonna front. He wasn't a good villain. Homie was on a level, okay? He didn't talk. His dad ushered him around like a dog, and then just randomly he became super buff, super sadistic, and just started breaking ankles off in people's butts. And that was just like his character. There was no depth to it. And then after running through the entire squad, now mind you, this entire squad is right after, you can tell by the hair length of like Trunks and Gohan actually being a Super Saiyan, the only time this could have happened is in the 7-week span between everybody getting out of the hyperbolic time chamber and them facing Cell. So Broly packed up a Super Saiyan Grade 2 Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, Trunks, and Super Namekian Piccolo. He literally packed up the entire team. And then somehow, through the magic of plot and convenient writing, Goku was able to take what was left over in the energy reserves of the team that just got packed up at full strength and one-shot Broly with it. How that happened, I don't know. It literally doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. Literally in the comments, try to make it make sense. I'll laugh. And then what we have now is that same Broly floating through space, and he somehow makes it to Earth and falls into like volcano or some ice. He falls in some ice. And he comes back and faces an adult Gohan, which by the time we're here, like, I know like people are like, okay, well, he's weaker than he was when he fought Cell. But at the same time, like, Super Saiyan 2 was so far above Super Saiyan Grade 2. And we had a Gohan who, in the World Tournament, he saw Videl get the crap beat out of Raspopovich, and he instantaneously, it was kind of like a car that had problems with transmission, but he still hit Super Saiyan 2 against Kavito. But Trunks, his younger brother, and his girlfriend got dusted by Broly, and he just stayed Super Saiyan 1 in the movie. And then Broly, the same Broly that got packed up by a tired ass Goku, was somehow running Gohan as an adult. The whole movie made no sense. And then it ends with some very questionable family Kamehameha. And then you get to the start of your supposed archetype revival show. You get a mushy, old avocado looking ass dropped on the floor.
This shit's so
Broly,
ugly. This shit's
who
so
gets
ugly.
then packed up by 2 6-year-olds, Krillin, and Eternity. Like, he got his power scaling is so questionable. The story plot is so questionable. Like I just don't understand it. Like, Bio Broly was a movie that made no sense to me, but to be fair, the other movies barely made sense to me. It's just that the first Broly movie was cool. Like, in all honesty, and this isn't even because I'm a Gohan fan, the moment Broly was like, Omega Blaster, and Gohan put up that dumbass shield that somehow didn't shield anything but himself, like, literally his entire squad got folded behind his shield. He should have just, like, hulked out in Gohan fashion, gone Super Saiyan 2, and that should have just been the end of Broly. But it's just, it was just so weird. I would personally not ever lose a wink of sleep, and I don't really get much sleep at all. But I would not lose a single wink of sleep I already don't lose if Bio Broly never saw a single card again.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. It's not it for me. One, I hate OG Broly, and that's probably propagated by the fact that, like, when they did the promo where if you went to go watch the re-release of the OG movie in theaters, you got like that black Broly promo leader. So which is like when we like I had just recently gotten to the card game, and bro, that movie does not hold up. That is an ass movie, dog. So, like, to take the
Cell's about to destroy the planet. Hey, yo, you say new planet Vegeta? Oh, we're gone.
Bruh,
get on the ship,
bruh. And then you got like soft boy Broly, who looks like he gets cucked on the daily, and then turns into Frankenstein Broly that goes blah blah blah, and is basically like that's his personality. To then like look to get taken out by the softest punch I've ever seen Goku throw. Like, I don't.
This man literally goes from father, I don't like meatballs in my SpaghettiOs to like I will rip out your esophagus through your anus. Like, and you're just like, how? How? And even his story, man, like his story, like, but he was traumatized by Goku crying. I'm like, how? You remember? How he doesn't remember this dude's face? Like, you cannot tell me a baby crying caused this man to have some unsatiable grudge. He's 30-something. He is almost 40. How is this happening? And then, like, it just made, like, King Vegeta look so petty, too. Like, this baby's strong as fuck. All right, guys. Y'all know what to do. Head in the nursery, stab his ass. Like, what? Like, excuse me. Yo, talk about fumbling the bag. He could have trained Broly in secret, and Broly would have pieced up Frieza no diff. But instead, he stabs a fucking baby, and then he gets his entire planet waxed. It's so awful.
It's so bad. I mean, if anything, it made me appreciate regular, like, Super Broly so much more. I think the new rendition is just so much better. So, yeah, you know, to not stray too far away from the question, hard pass on Bio Broly.
Avocado Broly.
But in terms of an archetype that would need much more attention, it's kind of tough to say because we are getting a lot of new attention in the starter decks, right? Like, first off, they hit two things where they're reboots, and not only is it reboot leaders, but we're getting ultimate decks / starter decks with them, which means there's just a lot of support coming alongside the leader. Sometimes you get like the leader and a couple of cards. Nah, these are like entire decks. So it's a little bit more difficult to kind of like linchpin exactly what archetype needs help the most. I would say, you know, like, if I just have to go off the top of my head, it would kind of be cool to see yellow, blue, U7 or U6 come back, but like the more traditional sense. I thought the combo-oriented game style was cool. It was annoying to play against, but it was solid. And I think that deck is like just on the cusp of being able to make a comeback.
It's in 2 very strong colors.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess maybe I should pick something that's not just in the color that gets the best combination stuff all the time. Or even just the Janemba archetype, the aggro blue Janemba archetype. Specifically because obviously that entire archetype like kind of got folded with the like ban list, that it kind of just like was a sideline casualty. Like, oh, you play for free, bang. So
yeah.
So seeing something done with that art, because that deck was legitimately incredibly fun, and playing a blue aggro deck is a ton of fun because you get the extensions of being and stuff like that. So being able to play that kind of thing in the color that, you know, color manipulation is intended for, that would be cool. So I'd say if I had to pick, I'd say like those off the top of my head would be interesting ones to see get some more support. Some archetypes need a leader. So like Bardock's crew needs help, but really that's just a new leader, and you give him that and he has like incredibly solid in archetype cards. So I'd say, you know, if we're trying to just specifically be like which deck, if we want to reboot something like Bardock, because I know I don't think we're getting a Bardock anytime soon. If we're talking about deck, I think blue yellow traditional U6, maybe add some Zhuzh that can be played with the Kefla Surge leader would be really cool as well.
I am actually really kind of on one of the same things. So it's like I could say all day a gajillion things that I want to have, you know, support. I could make a meme joke about U7 Gohan. But the thing is, at the end of this day, well, at the end of the day, this is a company, and the company wants to the company wants to make money. Like it's just what they do. Like, you know, they're never not going to make or want to make money. So when it comes to archetypes that need things, it's going to happen in due time. It's just a matter of when. Like, you may not like when. Like, I live with a guy who loves Metacooler. They've revisited Metacooler twice and made some like promos every now and then. Hasn't been busted. But look, sets and sets and sets later, where are we back at again? Metacooler. So just because it's not like Dragon Ball has more IP to go off of than most franchises. But at the same time, we're going to still recycle things. And there are characters that do sell more than other characters. Like Cooler will forever be seen as a cooler villain. But Metacooler, not so much, but he's still there. And so they'll be revisited. So I don't really have necessarily any burning desire to speed one up, or, you know, because if I chances are, if I want to see it back, I've probably played it recently, which means it might be too soon to see it back. Like, yes, we need a Gohan and Piccolo fucking card, like, for the love of God. It's not going to be in the movie, but we're going to probably get some in the movie. But yeah, they're going to revisit stuff. If I had to say which ones I want a Turles deck that actually works.
Yeah, make the green and yellow stuff work together, my guy.
I mean, let's just try to stop focusing on flipping people's lives, because we've tried flipping your opponent's life, and that was woefully bad. And now we've tried flipping our own lives, and that deck didn't even see tournament play, where at least the other one did. We just need to have a Turles deck that actually feels good. Imagine being a sand leader and still sucking. Like, imagine being a yellow sand leader and still being doo-doo. Like, that is a crazy and terribly sad world to live in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not great. Side anecdote, I mean, if we're being for real, if you guys could reboot Crimson Warrior Vegeta, that'd be great. All I would really need is for you guys to not make his pitch mandatory so that he can neg a card from hand for doing nothing. That'd be great. Thanks, Bandai.
that card can be uneroded right now, and that card, dude. I see. Look. I said this on our podcast. The moment I read that card, I was like, "This isn't normally how Bandai writes these effects. This is about to get eroded." Like I said that on our podcast because I was like, "It's not even like it was broken. It's just that the way his effect went, it's like Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh, you can't fail to search. In our game, you can fail to search. In Magic, you can fail to search. But if you ever saw a fail to search Yu-Gi-Oh card, you'd be like, that's not written correctly the way this game is. That's the way Vegeta was written. I was like, they've never written an effect that's just like, you can pay a cost. or just fuck it. Like they've never done that.
But it
So I
made
was like,
so much sense with the archetype. Because
mean-
because you need a red blue Saiyan in your drop to ramp.
They said that's what the combo step for.
But the combos cost 1. So you're
Hey,
so
look, you're blue. You're blue. It's still 0.
Oh my god. Anyways. Moving on to currently Pusha C, also known as Get 'em, also known as Cedric.
I forgot that he changed his name to Pusha C. That shit kills me so much. Oh, that's so good.
God. So his question being, have you guys stayed true to your playstyles throughout your TCG hobby, or have other card games caused you to dip into others? Also, would you rather have... Okay, well, that's a side question, so I'll ask that afterwards. Have you stuck to your playstyle across multiple TCGs, Chris? Because like you're pretty aggressive oriented when it comes to Dragon Ball. You tend to play some pretty beat down decks.
See, it's all right. It's definitely kind of weird because Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't really have too many playstyles. It's all archetype dependent, and so different decks play differently. But at the same time, it's not like you can just be like, I'm a control player and always play control in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because sometimes that's just not the way the format works. It's like you get to synchros, and there was nothing control-y about synchros for the most part. You put mad ass things on board and you put them into one battle or one monster card. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Aside, Magic is where I first kind of started feeling like there were types of decks I could play. And control felt too passive. I didn't like it. I didn't like sitting and just like negating and mitigating and controlling their board just to be like, okay, tap for Aetherling, and I'm just going to hopefully hope this connects 5 times or 4 times or 3 times, and that should be game. Like, that's just weird. Also, Aggro. I didn't like... Aggro gave me anxiety in Magic too, because like it really did just feel like turn 1, I'm turning sideways. Turn 2, I'm turning sideways. Turn 3, everything goes face. And if you are not about to die, from turn 4 on, the window of victory is getting closer. Actually, on turn 4, it's more like a porticus of victory. And then turn 5, it is like you had to pencil die from 4 stories up and land perfectly in this manhole-sized opening. Or victory's out your grasp. And that just gave me anxiety. Like, you just get to turn 3 and you're not about to win. And you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah.
I reached. So I became very quickly a mid-range player. I liked being able to feel comfortable in that game space. I like being able to get under control decks, like kill control decks red as they start to stabilize, but also not get completely smoked off of the ground from aggro. And that, for the most part, has carried over into Dragon Ball. My favorite decks of all time, like Soul Striker, Green-Blue Soul Striker, love that deck. Even with Gohan, I've said it a gajillion times, the U7 Gohan, I like sitting in the turns 3 to 5 with those decks, with that deck. That is my favorite little part of the game. I'm a mid-range player. However, I do understand that in this game, you are rewarded so much more for swinging than you are for putting your hands up. It's just the way the game is. Ties are always on the attacker's favor. Attacking is free. You just turn your card sideways that you were going to play anyway. Defending is not. You have to pay cards to not die. And then you have to like also advance your game state. So you're splitting your resources into 2 by advancing your game state and defending, whereas the attacker can just lean into attacking in many cases. So with Gohan, while I like it as a mid-range space, I prefer to have my deck lean more into aggro. Like, it's a tempo. I prefer to lean into aggro, but I can mid-range, than to be like, oh, I'm a mid-range deck, but I have Ultra Mastery because other colors don't play turn 4, 5, and 6 better than red. Spoiler alert, they do. Stop playing. But it's just, I would put myself as a mid-range player. It's just this game is a very much so aggressive game. Very rarely, the stars have to align for a deck to feel better on the defense than the offense.
True. I think a big part of the reason, which is why I liked multicolor format so much, was because it was one of those formats. But I played Search Crew and, played like the combo ape and stuff like that. So that deck felt incredible on defense, but that's just because it mostly punished aggro. So, but you're absolutely right. You are super incentivized to aggro in this game, which is very thematic to Dragon Ball anyway. So like I don't think I'd want it any other way, but you are very much incentivized to be aggressive in this game, which does make my job a little bit tougher because I have also not really strayed away from the way that I play, that I like my play style, which is combo control tends to always be the thing I lean on. So if we're talking about my past history, in Magic the Gathering, my standard deck was Aetherworks Marvel, in which I played a turn 4 Ulamog, which is a 10 cost creature that blows up to your permanents. In Modern, it's Tron, so that I can play a turn 3 Planeswalker that once again can like destroy your board. In Legacy, I play Storm, in which I can turn 1 you. So
and this is real Storm, you bums, not the Storm you. I'll get onto that after our spirit is
done. Hearthstone, I played Exodia Mage. so yeah, I like my degenerate combo decks, and like I am self-aware enough to know that like these archetypes are stupid, right? Like I'm the guy who, you know, jumped into set 4 format and I was like, bro, 1/2 swap has to be sub. That deck's stupid. Anyways, turn 1 I play Bardock. Right, like that's me.
Yeah,
so,
we are opposites there.
I am not blind to the stupidness of the game, but it is also my favorite part. I like making my opponents hate the game. Like it's degenerate, but that's just what I like most, and that has always carried with me in TCG. So yeah, no, my play style hasn't changed all that much. I like being degenerate.
Joke's on you. I will always hate myself before I hate the video game. Can't stop me.
So what were you saying about Storm?
I really do find it hilarious and cute when people take a card, right?
Yeah.
Or they take a term and they take it from another card game,
and it's not that like at all.
Yeah, they don't understand what true terror is. Like they're like, it's called Storm, and you know, like we go with it. Magic players go with it, but we're just like, you do realize that like you're actually bound. Like, yes, you're slighting some of the rules of the game, but you're still kind of bound to the rules of the game. Like, how about an opponent tripping, playing free cards, and they just play Grape Shot, and you just take all your life in like one fucking turn. Like this is not the same. Like, yes, there is a lot less interaction than what we're used to from other decks, but there is still interaction. There are still points of interaction in Storm. Outside of like you going first and having a mana leak up, like there aren't interactions to Storm. Like there was just kind of like there were some interactions, but it's not like a gajillion interactions. Like you can just open up your hand and look at your hand, and your opponent can play the first card, and you're like, shit. Like that is how Storm could work back then if you got unlucky.
Yeah,
it's just
no. So like MTG Storm, honestly, there are games where I could look at my hand. I am first turn player, and I'm like, that's GG.
Good game. You lose. You win nothing.
So I will say Storm was always a weird name for 1/2 swap, in my opinion, just because like I get what they're trying to say, but like also not really. So that was always weird to me. I'm not gonna lie, for sure.
Well, okay. So the reason why this happens, and I've got nothing but love for Mr. Combs. But Mr. Combs is a Magic player, and back during this era, he was the first and foremost person that would dive into these archetypes and deck concepts and put them on Facebook and his YouTube channel for 3XG. And being an old Magic player, he would always give them Magic names. And it would kind of tick me off because people be going around talking about, well, that's just what Storm does. I'm like, you don't know what Storm does. Like there was a couple of decks, like he called like one deck like the Jund of this game and stuff like that. And it's just like essentially Matt would always give Magic names to these decks. And I could see where some of the concepts were, but it was like a rough translation. Like it's not quite what was going on there.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I do it sometimes just because I like being that guy who maybe like coins a name for a deck. So I tried to make Helku Miracles because, like, I mean, it's effectively Miracles, but that never stuck. Which, like, I get it. People like to name Goku decks by just whatever coup. So there was no way I was winning that one.
Hey,
But
look. I mean, Helku. See, I'm kind of upset because, like, you say Helku Miracles because he's always scrying. I in my videos called him Top Coup, and everybody was like, "Ooh, hell in the name! Hell in the name is cool. Hell is cool. Hell cool. Herder." If that was you, I'm so sorry. But Top Coup, I think, is way more apt because there's a card called Sensei's Divining Top in Magic,
yeah,
where
I'm
you
okay
literally
with that.
just you just like tap it and you look at your top 3, like, and you rearrange them. That's literally what it is, and you can, like, the rest of it doesn't matter. The point is that leader and his Unison and his cards, they did that all the time. So I thought Top Coup was like a perfect name for it, but it just didn't stick because hell sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, Android 18 is literally Brainstorm, so like,
yeah. But hey, Drip Coup is sticking. I've seen it more and more.
That is true. It is true.
Like, it was already a meme with the Supreme thing, but I was like, look, we're never gonna get Supreme Drip Coup in the game. But this guy's wearing the Yadrat like fit. Like, this is Drip Coup. So when I see people in comments or like on Facebook posting about Drip Coup, I'm like, yes, this is my moment.
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, my one thing against like Top Coup was because it would be like I wouldn't help myself and be like, so who's bottom coup? But you know,
Top Coup stays bussin'.
And of course, Cedric always has an additional question. Would you rather have the power to pause time or rewind it, or super speed or super strength?
Okay.
Rewind time? I mean, isn't rewinding time basically pausing time? Because you can just rewind as many times until you get the outcome you want anyways that you would have had by stopping time.
Okay. I'm gonna put it out there. As a person with extreme anxiety and a freaking chronic overthinker, I have to avoid rewind time or pause time. There will be moments where I think that, like, things are about to happen, and I'd pause, and I'd just be dreading things happening. Like, this might happen on accident. I may pause time in response to seeing something about to happen that I don't want to happen.
Yeah.
Like, we need to talk.
Chris would be stuck.
Oh my god.
Giving you this power would just get you stuck in time infinitely because
you
would just be stuck in a loop.
For real. I would be pausing straight up off of anxiety alone. Rewinding would almost be the same. Like, I try something and maybe like maybe you were never going to nail that interview. Maybe you were never going to win that match. Maybe your opponent was broken. Maybe you were going to ask out that girl, no matter how many times you asked her out in which way, she was just already vibing somebody else. But a person with overthinking anxiety, you keep rewinding and trying different things, you go crazy. So it would, at this point, have to be super speed or super strength. To be honest, super strength isn't as cool as I think most people think it is.
Yeah.
Because, like, what are we doing? Like, we're in an age where a farmer is going to make X amount of money, but a dude sitting down working on a cloud service is going to make 6 figures. Being super strong doesn't necessarily do anything for you, except potentially have you end up in some government black site because they saw you lift a car off of a kid, and then they were just like, we need to figure out why. And then you just disappear.
But like even then, it doesn't even prevent you from like getting shot. So even as a combat tool, is not even that good.
Facts. Now, super speed, though, man. Sheesh. Now, super speed, yes. Like, if you get caught lacking, you could end up in the same black site. But 1, they do got to catch you first. 2, I think in applications, it could just be so much better. And it also depends on, like, how fast. Like, how fast are we? Are we flash fast? Are we Quicksilver fast? Because there are 2 different speeds. Like, I would love to be super fast because sometimes I'd be waking up late. Am I going to run faster than my car? Actually, what's my gas tank? Like, am I going to be able to run my 40-minute drive to work in 15, 20 minutes? Because if that's the case, I'm gone. But at the same time, we need to see how, I'm a comic nerd. We need to see how these powers pan out because my super speed means nothing if randomly some girl is making a TikTok in her car on the way to work and I get caught in her TikTok and she pauses and be like, yo, that's a black dude running at Mach speed. And then all of a sudden, All of a sudden, I'm stepping out of my house to go to work, and I get shot in the neck with a tranquilizer, and bam, black site, hooked up, like running the treadmill for the rest of my life. So, like, yeah, like I need to know the ramifications of these powers. Like, I get more and more skeptical. At first, it's like I'd be a hero, and then like the more comics and shows you watch, the more you're like, they try to mass produce me. They try to figure out if somebody made me. I might be a product of some experiment that escaped and then like procreated. Like there are so many ramifications I don't need in my life from having superpowers.
Mode. Yeah, I think like the thing is with like going back in time is that like I agree with you. I think it doesn't actually help all that much in situations where where like the outcome was kind of predetermined anyways. And even then, like I'm the type of person who like commits to his decisions regardless, even if they weren't like the perfect ones at the time. So like the only real utility, and like because that's the one that's like I guess most interesting. But the only utility that I would really see would be one, I guess I'd be rich because I could just been like, all right, yeah, GameStop November 2020, let's do it. So that, or I get to like relive my life as many times as I want, I guess. So depending on how far back in time I could go, but even then, that's like, okay, I guess I could go for New Game Plus. So I don't know. I agree. I think super speed is kind of the pick here. Like that, there's just so many applications of it that like expand beyond just kind of like your stereotypical superhero usage. So that'd probably be the one to just go to. And like, look, things don't tap out. Like I could just like not flex my max speed, go 1%, and then be like the highest scoring NFL player in the history of the game. You know, like it's fine.
But you're not wrong there. It's just that like I also feel like high key, like just think about all those times where like your competitive spirit gets you into trouble. Like that one time where you're like, oh yeah, I'm using like additional speed, but then you get some dude who has like the speed of Odell Beckham Jr. but hits like Earl Thomas, and this 280-pound dude is about to flatten you. And for that split second, you don't think, oh, I'm using 2% of my speed. You think, ah, shit, I'm not getting hit by that. And all of a sudden, what you get on like the NFL national television is a moment where you were in front of this dude. You literally blurred juked him. This dude flew through air. And then for a split second, you were like just completely halfway down the field before you just, oh yeah, normal trot. And that will be on every single news outlet. And then once again, you were in your bathtub, the lights go out, you get tased, black site. It all leads to government experimentation, bro. You don't want those problems.
True.
Like you guys, has anybody ever been arrested listening to this podcast? That's cool and all, but what if like SWAT swarms your house? Like there's like tear gas and like fucking tasers. Like I'm just not here for it. He could be dangerous. No, I'm naked in a bathtub. He is armed. He is a bio weapon, sir. I just want to relax. My favorite show, Moon Knight episode 6 is tonight. Can you arrest me in 2 hours? Get on the floor. Oh, like, nah, I'm not about it.
Oh, God. All right. So those were the questions that we missed out on last week. Now we've finally gotten down here to the questions requested this week. And of course, Cedric, it keeps on going.
Wait.
Yeah.
If I had the power to rewind time, I could rewind time to avoid being arrested. All right, hold on. Yeah, any power that leads to me not being in a black site may be Gucci.
Yeah, but we just been over this. You would get yourself stuck in an infinite loop.
Have I not instilled the proper fear of being on a government black site? Continue with the question. See, this is why I can't rewind time, guys. Anxiety, bad anxiety. Overthinking and mad anxiety. You've seen it in action.
And then Getham's last question. Would you and Chris consider doing a tier list of leaders? That'd be so dope. The sparks that would fly.
Actually, to be fair, until we get to our meme leaders, I think George and I would actually have very reasonable choices, and we'd agree on most of the things there. It's not until I start calling Invoker and Janemba toxic pieces of trash, and he starts calling Gohan tier D, that we start like actually butting heads.
Yeah, I agree. I think for like 90% of it, we'd be fine. And then there's like our favorite decks in which we'll be skewed certain ways. And like he doesn't like my SS4 pick, I don't like his Gohan pick, and that'll go places. And then it'll just be an argument between whether we think something's like C tier and F tier. So
Actually, crazy because like Super Saiyan 4 Bardock can't beat half the decks in this current meta, but Gohan can throw hands with any deck in this current meta. It's kind of crazy.
It's also kind of crazy that SS4 Bardock has more tops.
Does it though?
It does.
I mean, I'm sorry that more people decided to. Actually, I don't think more people decided to play it, but I think it's much easier to build SS4 Bardock than it is.
Well,
Gohan.
yeah, bro. 95% of the deck is pre-built.
I mean, there's a lot of user error. I've been looking at a lot of lists. Lots of people do come to me for lists, and like it's honestly wild. Like maybe deck building seminars should happen. I know I'm not the best deck builder, but I feel like sometimes common sense overrules. Like you have cards that recycle normals and cards that search normals, and then you have challengers that are finite. So when I see your list, and this is not technically calling anybody out, I just want to let you know, when I see your list playing 8 to like 9 or 10 vanillas, but like 6 challengers, I don't what? Like one of these is a renewable resource and one of these is not, but they both require each other in tandem. So I need to see the logic. When you're playing a red deck that has 50 cards in it that doesn't mill itself, you effectively put 2 to 3, maybe 4 cards in a pile per turn, if that, if you don't get negated or floodgated. Why are we running 2 copies of Ultra Mastery? Like literally, I need to know the games where playing Ultra Mastery saved you when you could have just windmilled a Vegeta or just play 2 Divine Presences or anything. It's just the deck building blows my mind. Like I feel like anybody just looks at red U7 cards and they're like, this goes in Gohan. And I'm just like, it doesn't. Why is Frieza in there? That literally says red Goku only. Read these cards. Like I just need people to do things. Why are you playing Rebel Reinforcements in a format where Broly Crown of Retribution is literally running people's pockets? Like I see you playing 3 Broly Crown of Retribution. Yeah, it's good. So why are you playing Rebel Reinforcements? I saw a deck list online that top to turn. No. Like, I need you to understand, why are you playing a card that actively gets mised by a card that you adore? It's clearly never going to happen to me. Oh my God, stop talking. Like, stop talking. It burns me up. So I think certain decks do have, like, have you seen the Facebook comments? There's actually a lot of comments for people asking about that deck yesterday. And I was just kind of putting stuff out there.
Oh, bro, I saw you. I saw you.
It was, well, I mean, I was writing paragraphs, but a lot of people just don't understand. I'm like, yo, like Goku is an easier deck to play, but there was certain people in the comments being like, well, Gohan is a much better deck. It just requires a brainstem. And I just had to like put it out there. I'm like, I love this deck. Don't get me wrong. But combo decks are combo decks. You come from Magic. You come from any game that has specific combo decks. You need to draw your pieces and you need to be able to play them in correct sequence. U7 Goku mills, and then none of its cards are combo cards. Everything is a standalone power play. You are tapping 1 energy for a Frieza, 1 energy for a 17, 1 energy for a counterplay Goku, 3 energy for a Jiren, 4 energy for an SCR or an Ultra Mastery. Nothing has to be drawn in sequence. You have your power plays or you don't. Whereas Gohan, you have A, B, and C's. You have your vanillas, you have your vanilla triggers on top of that, being the 1-drops, as well as the challengers. You have the cards you want to draw into. And if you draw them out of sequence, the deck folds on itself. So yes, it may take more brain power to play a Gohan deck than a U7 Goku deck, but you are opening yourself up to just the deck not helping you. And so there's no wonder why U7 Goku is having more success than U7 Gohan ever did. And to the people just saying that, oh, it's a matter of brain power, I don't know, man. Like, I have personally seen certain lists that just say the brain power is left on the table before you even step in the tournament. It's wild. It's wild. The debate has been crazy. And rest in peace, Vegeta, because you're just actually the third best leader out of the three. Well, you're probably the best leader out of the three. You were the third best U7 deck out of the three.
Yeah, that I agree with. I think there's some foundational so I think that's like one of the big strengths coming from other card games is the fact that you create those foundational strengths that are transferable to other card games. So like if you played Yu-Gi-Oh, if you played Magic, if you played whatever, Hearthstone even, to be honest, you start understanding the notions of what a deck is trying to do and kind of piece it together in a coherent way. So like you guys, like anyone who's watched any of my streams knows that like I build the deck usually half an hour before that tournament, and oftentimes they're decks I've never even played before. But my builds always end up doing decently well to a point where I either go X1 or undefeated when it comes to the locals I do on a week by week basis. And like, why is that? Well, it's just because I have, foundational understanding of, okay, this deck looks like it's trying to do this. So I need this, this, and this. And you kind of get a good notion of like what your curve looks like. And, if it is a combo deck, what are you looking for? And how do we maximize being able to find those things and play those things? So I will say that is one of those things where getting other TCG experience can definitely strengthen your ability to play this game, because you get a better understanding of foundationally, what combo, what control, what aggro, what mid-range, etc. is trying to do and how those come together.
Oh boy.
Well, alrighty, moving on to the next question. So just to actually answer your question, we probably will end up doing a tier list at some point. It would shock me if we never got around to it. So
you volunteered me. Look at you guys did. All right, I'm down now. I'm secretly down.
All right. Torax asks, what cards do you think can come off the ban/errata list? Hashtag free Bardock.
Like one drop Bardock?
Like one drop Bardock.
Bro, look, one drop Bardock. Nah, I'm serious. It's actually really funny. One drop, like in this particular format, one drop Bardock is probably just really dangerous. Like not as a single card, but like in tandem with how the play works. You don't just use a single Bardock swap into Goten. The whole point of the deck was to go multiple rounds deep into that cycle. And at this game, at this point of the game, you open yourself up to stuff that if you've noticed, most people right now aren't necessarily racing to take their lives. If your leader awakens at a high life total, you're fine awakening at a high life total and just holding your super combos until they're usable, or playing a different super combo to capitalize on that. If you were to use a Bardock the way that Bardock used to be used, a U7 Goku player could just dome you at a much earlier turn than they're used to, because they're just playing one drops that like start swinging at your leader for like 19k, and all those cards that you picked up on turn 1 and 2 have to start falling out of your hand to stop your now 4 life from getting swung on. And then they just cap you out at turn 4 with Vegeta or Ultra Mastery. Like Gogeta Zeno, like the moment you play Bardock once, you're just like, are you going to do it again? And you play it twice and Gogeta Zeno is like, this dumb bitch. Like you literally will get folded for recycling Bardock within the first 2 turns of the game. So like, some of these could probably come back and just let Darwinism sort its way through the player base. I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. I do think there are some cards that like aren't as big of a deal now that could be revisited. I mean, we've never had a card come off the ban list, have we?
Nope.
Yeah, so like at the moment it's kind of just been permanent. I mean, like first off, like it's very easy. First no-goes. Like I've had a couple of people be like, yo, minus Killzone needs to come back. Bro, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So like, not to be rude, but like if you are one of those people, that's cap. First off, it's a black card that sends 3 specific cards from drop to warp. So I hope you like getting Gogeta'd. Second of all, it draws a card and then it prevents counterplays. Like you are that is so unhealthy.
in words that you may also understand or resonate with more, anytime you complain about this shit is stupid, I can't even react, this is uninteractable, minus Killzone is the spirit of uninteractivity. Like minus Killzone actually just comes down the board and goes, your opponent can't do shit to your shit during your turn. all these things where you're like, wow, that card is amazing. It's a good thing I can tap it. It's a good thing I can God Sealing it. Minus Killy Zone just goes, nope, this card's straight broken now. Like, bow down. I am your god. No, like, they just, yeah, no. Minus Killy Zone can't come back. I'm going down the list right now. Cell Perfection Surpassed. I really do think that Cell Surge could still be in the game because I'm not gonna front. Props out to Jordan, but Cell Surge being hit wasn't a deck nerf, it was a player nerf, because Jordan was the only person I felt like who was piling that deck at maximum efficiency. No offense to anybody who is like good with the deck, but like there are people who are like, oh, Icarus always is able to outpace, Cell Surge. They just draw too much, and Jordan's like, do they though? And he just ran through Icarus after Icarus at Nats. Like, I feel like there's such a high skill cap for Cell Surge. It's not just ripping your hands, because sometimes people are just not playing it right. So that's weird. Unrelenting Assault Trunks probably could come back. It's just that Gogeta Zeno needs to be nerfed in different ways. I've already explained in my video how I think that Gogeta thwarting SS3 needs to read your opponent's energy to have 2 or more, or it needs to cost 2 energy. Either way, you need to not be able to play. If it costs 2 energy, you literally cannot play SSG Trunks. Actually, costs 2 energy or has to read your opponent's energy at 2. You can't play SSG Trunks and thwarting in the same turn 2 span. And that already moves the kill turn back a turn. And that's going to mess with what they can do, how they can keep up defense, what they can put down. And that's going to allow you to have a different breathing space. So I don't think Unrelenting Assault Trunks was necessarily the card to ban. I think that was the card they banned because they were trying to keep Gogeta Zeno in the format. Fu, yeah, Dark Knight Fu needs to stay. Unfortunately, that card is cancerous, and he literally prevents an entire part of the game from existing. So,
yeah. Janemba, I think, like, I was making jokes of it earlier, but I do think that Janemba was probably the most fair out of all the free play stuff that got hit. It's very combo oriented. It's very interactable. It actually has a cost in the sense that you need to have a battle card on board to swap with it first. And then even then, like, it was good, but that's where it stopped, unless you ran like another like 12-piece combo into your deck to extend it even further. So like, I think Janemba could come back. If like I'm talking about like the most like, yeah, this card's probably fine and not a big deal. If I want to see the world burn, like I tend to, I want shit like, first off, like we could Honorata Zamasu the Eliminator. I'm also for Honorating mind controlling Babidi.
I mean, if you tap 6 against me in red, go ahead. Like, you deserve it.
Brack, we taking back chain attack, dog.
If you play chain attack and think it's getting off in this format, you deserve it. Please.
Well, it's pretty gross because you can go into a turn 2 chain attack into mind controlling Babidi into 2 red-green Kyoken Gokus that rip out every card in your hand and then swing for a dual triple.
Hey, look, sometimes we high roll. If Gogeta Zeno can sit here being high roll.exe, then like really can we complain?
But yeah, I'd say those would be my biggest picks. Otherwise, I think for what it's worth, and like I'll give a lot of credit to Bandai. As much as I'm not a fan of the limit list in general, like Cell could come back. I think that'd be fine. That'd be whatever.
I'm a Rush kid too, to be honest.
Yeah. So like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of limits, but in general, I do think they do a good job with the ban list. They're not ban happy. They almost never use the ban list as a way to shape the meta. So like, they don't go that Konami route, which is great. And in general,
the Predator was the closest way.
Yeah. Well, the printing was like one of its closest ways, and that like both whatever that card existing at all was kind of just like a big what the hell. But in general, they've done a really good job of really only utilizing the ban list to fix broken stuff, which I appreciate greatly. So
I dig it. What else do they do? I'm trying to think about this. See, I'm scared to keep talking about this because now that you've asked this question, it sounds like a really good video idea. We should like just like break it down. All right, I'm calling it right here. Where this is the Espira UniX planning stream right here. Like, we should have the ban list on one of our channels, and then the limited list or the errata list. Yeah. No, not the errata list, because most of the erratas kind of make sense. Maybe we put the limits and semi-limit, or we put the limits on one of our channels and the bans on the other channel.
That's
But one of those is a shorter video. We got to figure it out.
That's spicy. I figured. I mean, there's like when it comes to erratas, there's only like 2-3 I would mention. So, but for the most part, yeah. So yeah, I dig it. I think that's a cool video.
All right, you heard it here. I don't know when it's dropping, guys, but look forward to it.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to Derpy's question. Mainly a question for Chris. I guess 2. 1. When you came back into the game, how did you come back in terms of buying product? I'm taking a brief hiatus for the game, but we'll be back pretty soon. So just wanted thoughts on that. And then 2, how do you feel about Sora having normal feet in Kingdom Hearts 4?
How does he know I like Kingdom Hearts?
Or Sora's feet?
Well, I mean, it's not Sora's feet. You don't have to like Sora's feet. You just have to be a Kingdom Hearts fan, and you automatically know about Sora's feet. But I'm trying to remember if I've ever mentioned it. I probably mentioned it on my channel, but I don't think I've mentioned it.
I've never heard you talk about Kingdom Hearts.
That's strange. Who are you? Show yourself. Reveal yourself. Well, anywho, no, seriously, what's the screen name? No, for real. When I came back into the game, the first thing I did was I sat and I just kind of watched the format. I came back right before Vermilion Bloodlines dropped, and I kind of took a look at the format and didn't really jump on set 10. I waited until all the spoilers were out for set 12, because generally they're always going, like, they're going to make these self-contained decks, you know, and these decks can use staples from previous sets. But for the most part, the way Bandai's designed their decks is, for better or worse, kind of cookie cutter. So I watched the format, and watching the cards, I already decided that I wanted to play Dark Broly. It does something unique. It makes 30k bodies. It was a little clunky back then, but it didn't use Unisons really. And that made it so that my entry level to the game was a little cheaper. I didn't have to get Unisons. I didn't have to get the free counterplays. I just had to essentially buy a crap ton of Vermilion Bloodlines. And not even really a crap ton, because most of the deck was like rares and there was just a single like SR. So if you're trying to come back into the game, I think that's where you need to go. Like, when you know you're going to start playing again, start looking to see where we are at the card game. Are we in the middle of a set? Is a new set about to come out? Because if a new set's about to come out, you probably do save a lot of money by just waiting until you know what you want to play. Like, imagine if you were in the same position, but Realm of the Gods wasn't out yet, right? You could literally sit and sit here, see that you want to play UI Goku, and just know that, okay, I'm going to test with it online. I'm going to test with it on tap. I need Jirens. Oh, I need Videls. And you just, at that point, you would have made a quick, 3 Jirens, non-foil, anywhere from $9 to $15 purchase. The Videls, at that point, were still kind of in a weird space. So about anywhere from 5 to like 10 per max. So you'd be able to make like a $30, maybe $40 investment, depending on when you found that. And then you just be able to go to your pre-release, buy a couple boxes. Like, you'd be able to buy singles for a deck. And so I think that's kind of where it is. It can be overwhelming to start just trying to like scramble to get as many cards as possible. Pick something that you think is strong, that you've tested with, that has caught your eye, and then just build it. And once you build it, just start trying to play where you can. Your online events, your locals, and you'll get more cards. You'll win more packs. You'll win more prizing. And you'll be able to start flipping those if you're into the whole, like, you know, obtain, sell culture of TCGs. And you'll make it from there. I think just the key part of it is to not get overwhelmed by trying to spread yourself too thin. Pick a focus, stick to the focus.
And buy singles.
Yes. That too. Go to your pre-release and then just buy singles from there. Because sometimes the pre-release is fun, and sometimes those like gold stamps just sell for like stupid Yu-Gi-Oh prices the first weekend.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at the other thing, what do I feel about Sora's feet? We'll keep this one short because I try not to be too not DBS oriented when we're on these things. It doesn't really faze me. I really, really like the art style that they showed in that trailer. But Nomura has already gone on record and said that that is not the scheme of the entire game. That's the world that he's currently in. You're still in the world that you face Yasora in. Spoiler alert for anybody that hasn't beat Yasora after the game's been out for like over 2 years. Point being though, the place that you fight like Yasora in is like Quadrum or whatever. You're still in that world in that trailer. So the hyper realistic look of that game is just an effect of you being in that world as Sora normally has when he goes. He specifically said he showed Donald and Goofy at the end of the trailer to show you that that cartoonish style still exists, just in a higher definition and better clarity. So I'm not really worried. It looks really cool. I definitely would have liked an entire game in that style, but I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan to like the death of me. So I'm really just fine whichever it comes. Like I'm already over the fact that Kingdom Hearts 3 was not the resolution of an era. It was a segue into a new era. I thought that was kind of scummy because we've been waiting 15 years for the resolution of all the plot lines that we had. And instead we just got essentially an elongated trailer for whatever games he decided to make next.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a person who has played every single game, who's platinumed every game on the PlayStation, who literally had a glass shelf of those Play Arts figures. That stuff was over $3,000 when you tally it up on eBay. You can't find half those things anymore. I'm a Kingdom Hearts fanatic, and I straight up will tell you that like Kingdom Hearts 3 was a slap in the face to the fans. I still played it, but it was a slap in the face. So it really be what it is. I'm just here for the ride now. It's one of those things where I know why I play it, and it's not for the content anymore. It's because it's just been most of my life. Yeah, that's where it is.
All right, fair. We'll take one more, and then we'll save the other questions for next week because this has been a lot of questions.
I like it. I like it.
Bacon Boy asks us, do you guys think the future of this game will be online or in person? More clarification, I should really say what will come more often. I do think as the pandemic, I mean, whatever happens with it, we're on like wave 6 and it comes back and whatever. I'm not here to say anything about that. But in a normal situation world, post-pandemic, I do believe we will still be a hybrid model because I think both tournament organizers as well as players have voiced how much they love the online platform as a low barrier way to play the game. I do think that the game will return to be a primarily in-person played game, and we will see the trend of more in-person tournaments than online tournaments being the norm moving forward.
Yeah, our current structure is a product of us being in a pandemic, but you have to understand that online and in person are actually fairly divisive. Online play caters to a more casual player base, 100%. And I'm not saying like, oh, you're not competitive if you play online, but when it comes to the TCG kind of lifestyle, and I do say it's a lifestyle because it really is, traveling is a part of that lifestyle. It's the getting on the planes, it's the taking the buses with your homies, it's the car rides with your homies, it's the visiting new food places when you're out, it's the practicing for the event in the hotel the night before to then stay up ungodly hours to then get up off of 5 hours of sleep for a tournament. Like, this is part of the TCG lifestyle, and it is part of the allure. It's why lots of people, even though online events technically are hassle free, they're giving you a lot of bang for your buck. Like, I can't even lie. $40 to enter an event, have a chance to win mad prizes you can flip, your invite, staying in the comfort of your home, and getting entry. That's an infinite plus compared to finding travel, finding housing, going to these places, taking the time off that you may need to because you might leave on a Friday if the tournament is on a Saturday, things like that. It's an infinite plus to play online. It's just that as a TCG player, the journey is literally a whole bunch of what makes the ride so fun. So I do think that like the people that are sunk into this lifestyle, they do want the online, or they want the online presence to kind of die down a little bit, because right now they do kind of feel like it's taking over. That's the voice that you kind of hear on the forums a lot. You were getting all these online events and things like that. Now, in a kind of more edgy part of it, I do think that online tournaments, until online tournaments are best 2 out of 3, and even then, because of the things that can only happen on an online tournament, to a degree, some of the integrity of the game and its competitive scene does get a little like besmirched. Like you can cheat in person, you can cheat online, but it's way easier to cheat online. It's also way easier to get caught cheating online because most people are recording or some people stream. But it's kind of a weird thing. I think in the future, the game, like Espira said, is going to be back to a hybrid schedule, but it's more of the balance because I think that by far it is much easier to find somebody who is going to moderate a Discord tournament. It's much easier to mail out prizing and have that happen. It's much easier to do a online tournament than it is to find a TO, find a venue, pay everybody the correct ways, organize it, give people enough time. Like, just look at what happened the past week. I am 100% sure that Bandai let us know as soon as they could. As soon as the ink dried on everything, they let us know when this tournament could be held. We're not happy. And by we, I mean most of the people in the discussion group. They're not happy because they're like, there was a month's notice. They didn't just have this swirling around on the desk and wait a month to tell us. They're not going to let us know things until they can. So it's kind of a weird position to be in. It is 100% easier for them to do an online event than an in-person event, but the in-person events is what gets people going 9 times out of 10. So I think we're in for a very elongated kind of testing ground of just trying to see what that new balance looks like after there is not a specific need for online tournament. Because we have to find that difference between what's affordable, what's easy, what's doable for the company that's making our game versus what is going to make the people happy. And generally, those are not the same thing. So, to be honest, I don't have a flat out answer for that. It's probably going to be highs and lows until they figure out the perfect balance, if there is a perfect balance, because like any TCG community, Dragon Ball Super card game players complain all the time. They don't stop. Ever.
Never.
They get what they want, and they still complain until they don't get what they want. Then they say they were right the whole time. Like, I've never seen it. Give us this. We get it. Not like this. They take it away. You never give us this. Like, it is absolutely insane.
100%. It's just if it's not one thing, it's another. But the only thing I'll add on to what Chris was saying was that while I do think the hybrid model is the way of the future, just because I know this game would lose a player base if they completely got rid of online tournaments. But I do think that IRL should be incentivized. Like, here's the thing: if I'm spending money, and I 100% agree with Chris, the experience is getting ready for a tournament to go IRL. When I used to play Magic the Gathering IRL, I would spend like over a month playtesting, dozens of games a day for the Pro Tour that was coming in Montreal. Or not the Pro Tour, the Grand Prix that was coming in Montreal, which was like a 2,000 player tournament. So like that, like I don't do that with online. Like, y'all know, I'm the guy who doesn't test. Like, that's just because the nature of the online platform just kind of really doesn't really incentivize it, because there's no stakes for me. I spend $40, I plus anyways because of my entry pricing, and like if I flop, whatever. But when you account for driving, food, hotel, which like hotel, even then, it's sometimes you might be like sharing like 2 beds between like 7 dudes. the way
it is true.
So like, I do think that something to consider is to better incentivize the IRL tournaments. Respect the fact that players are traveling for these events versus and paying for stay and hotel and food and all that versus being able to play at home. So I do think that pricing should be scaled a little bit more in the IRL aspects, especially since the pricing does need to be shipped. It just, here's the player and the players worry about it. I do think that should be a consideration when we're looking at what improvements we can make to a hybrid model that will most likely be the reality of our card game moving in the future.
I don't want to be mean to anybody that like regularly grinds online events. Like, you are good. You've earned your wins, you've earned your dubs, but like it's not just like, oh, an American thing. It's literally, if you get a top with a best of 1 5-round event, it just doesn't hold the same weight as somebody that got a top on a best of 3 8-round in-person event. Chances are the event was larger. There's a lot of variance that is involved with best of one. Like I said, I'm not taking away from your wins, but how many of those wins could have potentially be a loss in game 3? And on the reverse side, there's maybe a person who tested very, very often, but then they just got bad game 1s most of the tournament. You take 2 or 3 losses, you fall into the rogue bracket, you start facing stuff you didn't practice for because you had no reason to. Like, you can't assume somebody's coming in with agents of destruction. Like, you don't just sit there and test for agents of destruction. It's there or it's not there. Like, it's like there's a lot of stuff that kind of goes into these, and it kind of starts feeling weird. Like, we're about to get to a competitive nationals where more invites have been given out via online tournaments than in-person tournaments, and that feels a little bad, in my opinion. Plus, you have like kind of skews of like, and granted, content creators can kind of sort this out a little bit, but you kind of have this like word of mouth skew. Like, you have a person that played like Ding Dong Dingus Turbo, and it just happened to greenlight its way through 5 rounds on an online tournament, and they're just like XO undefeated finish regional winner. But this deck is 8s. It just had a good run for 5 rounds in a best of 1 tournament. Like, it could have won the die roll 5 times in a row and just opened up broken. And it's kind of like a weird space because a good testing ground, I think, needs to be a best of 3 with sides. I think that's just like the best way to gain data on what is viable, what is not. And these best of 1 online regionals, they don't allow that to happen. You could have a matchup based landslide of like just oh, I played X deck and nobody's ready for this weird you can't target my leader or my battle cards interaction that nobody would ever see, but I found out how to do it 8 times out of 10 on turn 2, and so I just sweep the tournament. And the moment people side in cards, they're like, well, I'm going to Kyle Kin that shit. And do you have any other plays? Nope, that was pretty much it. All right, cool. Scoop it up then. Oh, like, it's just a weird space to me.
Yeah. But it's fine. I mean, like we've said before, it's one of those situations where you kind of have to effectively take best of 1 Dragon Ball like its own game, its own format, its own. Correlating the two are only as respectful to both as there's some tangential crossover in terms of what decks can do well there, and they use the same card pool. But otherwise, just treat the game as like different formats, and to that end, you get a lot of, especially like whenever they do decide to like implement best of 1 pre-side. Not that doesn't, naturally you're still gonna have those like, what if you mess up game 1? Not mess up, but like, what if you just low roll game 1, which would have been corrected in a game 2, game 3 situation? That'll still naturally always be there. Right. So it doesn't like fix it in its own way, shape, or form. It's just there are multiple ways to play, and to that end, they have their own pros and cons. So,
see, you have such a good balanced take, and my only question is, for this to be true, like, could we please have the best of 1 Warriors stop acting like they won best of 3 full round events? Like, this is the craziest thing. Like, you literally, like, again, it's like you just don't want to take away anything from anybody, and so that's not even the point. But it's just like you have people again doing like we had nationals last year that were 5 rounds of best of 1, and then it cut to top cut. What is that? Literally, like, I know it sounds like a American problem, but like, what is that? Like, we had like a 8 or 9 round event, best of 3, that went into a top 16 cut that was still best of 3.
Yeah.
And then only 2 people went to Worlds. And then meanwhile, you literally have people who could get like X1, X2 and end up in like top 4 after Swiss. I'm just like, X2, top what? Like, hey! I mean, like, I'm about to start putting on a fake mustache and traveling to like places. Like, bro, I don't know, man. I'm getting dual citizenship for Australia. We are going to Worlds no matter what next year. No matter what, at any cost. I'm Mr. Worldwide. Fuck Pitbull.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for the questions. Of course, there's a couple I didn't get to. I did not forget you guys. We will continue those on next week's episode. And of course, if you want your questions answered on air, then feel free to tweet at me at EspiraTV with the hashtag SC Mailbag, or to post it in the Discord in the SC Mailbag category section. I don't know what to call it anymore. And we'll get to your question on air. So before we sign off, Chris, what do you got for the people this week?
Well, the first thing I have is a disclaimer. I have no hate for any foreign players. It's just sometimes, like, it is crazy how different the tournaments can be for the same level of play in terms of structure, length, and not difficulty in terms of players, but difficulty in terms of the time you spent getting taxed mentally to play the game. And that's just weird. But everybody who has topped has earned their tops, and I respect that. When it comes to content this week, tomorrow I will be getting out a video about the current Piccolo spoilers. And I'm assuming that 2 to 3 days after that, I'll be getting out another spoiler video when all the cards for the archetype are released. So this week, at the very minimum, you can expect 3 more Piccolo videos. A spoiler tomorrow, a spoiler in 2 to 3 days, and then a archetype breakdown and demo probably this weekend. I already cracked a whole bunch of premium packs, and I uploaded that video yesterday. People in my comment section said they wanted me to make a video on Oath of Z, and I'm not gonna hold you. There's about 4 or 5 minutes of content that I squeezed out of that card. So I am currently fabricating 4 more minutes of content. No, I mean, I'm kidding. I actually haven't sat down and drafted that video yet, but it's one card, and it's not like the card has a gajillion applications. So that's going to be, I need to be creative with it. So that's why it didn't just come out immediately. I refuse to put out a 3-minute video because YouTube algorithm does not support that. And I'm already making no money as it is on YouTube. I'm not going to sit out and just render a video that takes long. Nah, it's just not happening. So I want to plan that and make it something you guys want to watch, but also make it something I'm proud of. I want to make sure every video I put out, I'm proud of. So we're working on that. You've got the Piccolo spoilers. Work is being a little weird for me, and so my hours are about to start getting, like, I'm going to start having more 6-day in a row shifts than like not, or stretches than not. So I want to get on another fight night because people really did show up for the Gohan versus Goku U7 fight night. That thing is my most viewed video in the past month and change. It's like at 2.5K views right now out of nowhere. So I do want to get into another fight night. It's just a matter of finding a time where I am not falling asleep and that 2 people in my Discord are willing to play. And since I low-key am like Mr. Worldwide, sometimes the time zones really don't match up. Like, we might have big annotation in the group from England, but some dude from California, and I just need to match up a time where I am able to record both of them playing in my Discord. So I will, as always, try my best to get out to you guys the content that you guys like watching. I just need you guys to be patient with me. But that's my schedule so far for the week. More Ultimate Squad stuff. And we'll sneak in what we can sneak in after that.
All right. Very, very nice. On my end, same thing. Work has been, yeah. For anyone who knows my stream schedule, you guys know that previously it used to be a minimum 3 times a week type of thing, where it would be like Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, and then weekend tournaments and stuff. That's just been really hard to do lately. So still planning to potentially get out a couple of streams for Dragon Ball Tuesday and Thursday. If work provides me the time to do so. It's a bit of a slower week this week in a sense, so I should be capable of running that. So on that front, do that. I will be looking to going back to re-uploading my tournament streams on YouTube. So I know a lot of people have been asking me for a long time to start bringing back gameplay videos on the channel, just because they can't catch the live streams, which I totally get. So we'll be doing that. We'll be returning the gameplay and putting them onto the channel. So if you guys are looking forward to that and have been missing the gameplay, then we'll be bringing that back to the channel. So keep your eyes out for that. Should be a lot of fun, and that's basically kind of what I've got lined up for this week.
Hell yeah.
There we go. So with that said, that was the Super Combo Podcast for today, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, best of luck with your top decks.
Sirs and ma'ams, dudettes, dudes, all them things, in-betweens, non-binaries. Yeah, we're all inclusive here.